I'm going to do that.
Do you want me to record, Polly?
Either way.
It's recording. It says recording.
Yeah, we're recording. Okay, welcome everybody. We've got to jump in and get started because I want you all to hear all the amazing, wonderful things from my good friend, Bethany. So say hi, Bethany. So I don't know, let's see, gosh, where did we meet? I can't even remember.
I don't even know.
I don't know,
but I love you.
I know, I love you too. So Bethany is a recent MVP, right? You just promoted a couple of months ago?
Like, this month is my first month.
I know. I know. So y'all, I am just so excited for you to hear from Bethany. But yeah, I've known her for quite a while. She was doing a presentation not too far away from Birmingham, and I was like, I have to drive and come see you. And so yeah, we've just known each other for a long time. But one of the things that I love your story, and I really love all the work that Bethany has done, and the studying that she's done with the neuroplasticity of the brain, which is one of my favorite things as well. So I don't want to take up any more time, really, honestly. I just want to hand it over to you, Bethany, and let you pour into our team. And thank you so much for taking the time to do this tonight. We're all so excited to hear from you. So take it away, girlfriend.
Aw, thank you, Polly. Thank you for that really kind introduction. You guys, I love your leadership. I don't know where you guys fall in line with who's your sponsor and this and that, but I know Gabby and I know Polly, and I love your people. You guys have great people. So, but I'm excited to share with you guys tonight. Polly asked if I would share a little bit about mindset, and I wanted to weave that into my journey because I am a certified self-talk trainer in my other life. I'm also a mom in my other life and a wife and all of the farm animals to go with it. But I do love brain science and I love Arbonne. And both of those things have been really impactful in my life. And so I think they kind of go together. And so I want to share that with you guys because I know we're all here because we're a part of Arbonne. And so I do want to share my story in line with how self-talk and neuroplasticity and all that stuff goes into it. So I am a brand new national vice president. It's crazy, right? It's been quite a journey. So I want to share a little bit of that with you guys. I am not new to Arbonne. It was not a like overnight wonder fancy thing that happened in like a half a second. So I was actually introduced to Arbonne over 15 years ago, you guys. So I have been a consultant for longer than 15 years. That is true. I am old. I am okay with that too. I'm middle-aged and it's great. And I feel really confident in being barefaced. I actually have no makeup on today. Well, I put a little lip gloss on because I jumped in the shower right before this call because it's been a little like I had been at the barn and hiking around the very humid area of North Carolina where I live. So, but anyways, I was introduced to Arbonne, you guys, actually through baby products when my oldest was a baby. She is going to turn 16 this year, the summer. Oh my gosh. But a friend gifted me with the Arbonne baby products. And you know, they say that people need 7 to 10 exposures before they say yes. And I just want to say that I am one of those statistics. I actually had 7 exposures to Arbonne before I said yes, including going to an Arbonne party and buying the cheapest thing in the catalog. I actually went to an Arbonne party and I bought a chapstick. I was the guest at the party that bought the cheapest thing. So do not give up on the chapstick buyer. So there you go. But I really had a lot of exposures. I had a girl that I worked with. I kind of blew her off. I had a roommate, blew her off, went to the party, bought the chapstick, got the baby products. I was like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. Got a sample of the RE9 skincare line, which is hilarious because I had never used skincare in my life. I was like, I used a bar of soap and a jar of Vaseline. Like I did not know anything about clean and safe. But the sample, you guys, within 3 days, I was like, man, my skin feels amazing. Like, I think I want this stuff. And people were noticing too. I was like, gosh, did I look that bad? I mean, seriously. But, what else? I went to a car presentation. I hosted a party and then I finally signed up just because I wanted a discount. And so I signed up as a consultant because at that time, 15 years ago, there was no preferred client option. And so I became a really good shopper. I did a really good job of consulting for myself and my family and a few friends for 8 years, you guys. Don't take that as a great example. Please don't take 8 years, but I did. So I will say a really great thing that my upline, well, my sponsor is no longer in Arbonne. Her sponsor is actually now my preferred client. So that's a really good lesson in itself, just to stay, right? Just stay, just stay. You never know when someone's going to jump up and like go crazy on the business. But I am now direct to ENVP Stacy Roush is her last name now. It used to be Stacy Thorne. And so Stacy did such a good job, you guys, for 8 years. She did such a great job of not making me feel ashamed or guilty or manipulated or like nothing. She just loved me where I was at. And she always spoke to the greatness that she saw inside of me. And I think that's so important because, man, if she would have given me the guilt trip for 8 years for not doing anything, I may never have done anything, you know, I don't know. But she didn't. She always spoke to the greatness that she saw inside of me. And I think that's so amazing because where in life do we get an opportunity to speak to the greatness that we see inside of people? We really don't. I mean, that's not happening every day. That's such a gift that we're able to give in Arbonne. So I love that. I will say that things didn't change for me or shift for me until my why became really clear. Was I scared to jump all in? Yes, I was. I mean, 8 years I'd been around Arbonne. I loved the products. I loved the culture. The people were amazing. I had seen what was possible time and time and time again. But was I still nervous to jump all in? Yes. I mean, heck yeah. Who's not, right? I mean, I was a little bit nervous. I think my biggest fear was just, I really value relationships. And I was like, I don't want my friends to break up with me when they see I'm trying to sell something. Like, I didn't want them hiding from me in the grocery store. I will tell you, I have not lost any friends yet. Not all of my friends buy Arbonne. Not all of my family buys Arbonne. And we still talk to each other and we still love each other. And it's okay, right? So I haven't lost any friends. I've gained a lot of amazing friends in my life because I stayed and I jumped in. But there is a book called Start With Why by Simon Sinek. And it's a really great book. You guys, I read it maybe 2 years ago or so. And I read that book. There's a quote in there and it says, "The only way people will know what you believe is by the things you say and do. And if you're not consistent with the things you say and do, no one will know what you believe. Authenticity cannot be achieved without clarity of why." And so when I read that, there's a whole chapter that quote comes from, and it focuses on clarity, discipline, and consistency. And I will tell you guys that when my why became so clear, so crystal clear, it was not an option for me to be inconsistent or undisciplined. I think when your why becomes so crystal clear, you know exactly what you want, that every decision that you make gets filtered through that why. And so that really became reality for me. I had seen other people do amazing in this business. Our life was not bad by any stretch. My husband actually worked for himself from home, made a 6-figure income, but he was miserable. And I was like, I want more for our family. I just think that there's more to life than just surviving, right? And so I decided to jump in and build this business because I wanted more for our family. And I will tell you that everything I did from that point forward filtered through that why. So I have kids. I'm a mom. It's busy. There's commitments. There's things. You guys, I still made my family a priority, but everything I did filtered through that why. And so I really assumed that I would go straight to the top, and I didn't. And so if you're around and you're a little frustrated, I understand. And so I will just ask you, you know, is your why so crystal clear that discipline and consistency in your business is the norm? And if it's not, I want to ask you to dig a little bit deeper and figure out what is it, why are you doing this? And it really needs to be really clear, and it needs to really be rooted in your heart. It has to be a heart thing. So as the story goes, I went district pretty quickly. I became a bonusing district manager by myself for 11 months. So I'm just going to put that out there, because if you are in this business and you have done consistent activity for 30 days, or 60 days or 90 days or 5 months and you're still frustrated, I did that for 11 months, you guys, 11 months. You don't bonus your district by yourself unless you're working your tail off. So I was not sitting around twiddling my thumbs. I was busy. And so as you might imagine, that's a little bit frustrating. And so when people tell me they're frustrated after 30 days, I'm like, I can't hear that. Like, I understand the frustration, but you got to keep on keeping on. You have to keep on keeping on. And I mean, I'm really honest with my people, and I'm like, you know, I love you no matter what, but are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to bonus your district by yourself for 11 months with no team? If you know in the future, like 13 months, there's a region ahead, or, you know, a nation another 5 years down the line, are you willing to do that? And not everybody is, and that's okay, and that's just where they're at. But I just want to challenge you guys that it is worth it to stay and to be consistent and to be clear and to have the discipline, the self-discipline that it takes. It is so worth it. I promise you it's so worth it. So as the story goes, 9 months in, I'm a district manager, slightly frustrated, actually a lot frustrated. And I kind of, this is where self-talk comes in. I had been around Dr. Shad Helmstetter a couple of times, thank you to Arbonne. And I remembered him saying, you know, your brain is like a computer. Whatever you tell it the most, it goes to work to make that truth. And so I was like, fine. All right. If Dr. Shad says that, I'm going to see if it actually works for me. And so I wrote out this vision statement, you guys, just one page, just what I felt in my heart. That was for me, for my business. I'm happy to share it with you guys later. If you want it, Polly, I can pass it to you. But I made a commitment to read that vision statement every single night before I went to bed. And I think it's important to note that my feelings didn't always line up with the words on the paper. And sometimes your feelings aren't truth, you guys. You always have to go back to the truth, right? I mean, feelings are real. Feel the feelings, they're real, they're there, but they're not always truth. You always have to go back to the truth, right? So I read this vision statement every single night before I went to bed. So I wrote it 9 months in. 2 months later, you guys, 11 months, right? 2 months later, to the day, I ended up getting my very first business builder. She drove an hour to a car presentation. I drove 2 hours. We met. I hadn't seen her in a couple of years, few years. I don't know. We've been acquaintances at college. She kept bailing on me. She finally came just to get me off her back, and she came and sat in that car presentation, was like, oh my gosh, I need to do this. But I think about that now, you guys, and I think about, oh my gosh, if I would have let the head trash and the mental game and all the discouragement and the frustration take me out 10 months in, I can't even, it makes me want to cry to think about the people that are in my life today and in my business that would not be here right now. I mean, there are lives upon lives upon lives that have been impacted because I chose to stay past all the frustration and past the disappointments and past, you know, all of the head trash and all the things, you guys. It is so worth it. It is so worth it to stay. It is not just for me, right? It's not just about me at this point, you guys. It's about so many other people that are in my life and on my team today. So, and even sidelines. I mean, come on. I wouldn't know Polly and Gabby if I would have quit, honestly. So think about that. There's so many people that can enrich your life if you just stay and do the do. So, but this is really where the inner game has to meet the outer game, okay? So the outer game, you guys, you can always hone your skills. You can read more books, you can learn, you can practice, you can get into activity. Okay, activity, by the way, will always breed confidence. Competence breeds confidence. So the more you do something, right, the more you practice, the more confident you're going to become. And I honestly, right now, we can't really do a whole lot of things except for virtual stuff. So there's like no question about what you have to do, right? Get on Zoom and talk to somebody, or a few people, or Facebook Live, or whatever. Like, there's not a lot of options right now. So I will say that the outer game, you know, your skills can always be honed. You can always get better. But the inner game, when the inner game meets the outer game, that's when the magic really happens. And the inner game are things like plugging in, self-talk, affirmations, minding your mind, getting your buns to events when you can get there, whenever we have events, whatever. Getting on these calls, right? I challenged my team, you guys, when I was sharing this with them. we have a Sunday night call. It's about 30 minutes, right? I always encourage people to get on Go for Gold. I think Donna Johnson is a great neutral place that we can all learn. That's about 30 minutes a week, right? Read one book a month. Spend 15 minutes a day, 6 days a week reading. That's about 90 minutes a week. And then we do a special Voxer group every week. That's about 20 to 30 minutes a week. You guys, if you do those things only and nothing else every single week, I just want you to comprehend that that is 190 minutes that you're investing in your personal growth out of 10,080 minutes that we have in a week, right? We all have 10,080 minutes a week. I'm asking you to spend about 150 to 200 of those investing in yourself and your personal growth, your inner game, because the reality is that your paycheck will never outperform your personal growth ever. And so that is the truth. It might take a little jump here and there, but it'll always eventually meet your personal growth. There's a great quote that I saw recently. It says, "Don't chase love, money, or success. Become the very best version of yourself, and those things will chase after you." So 11 months to the day, I sponsored my first business builder. I wrote that vision statement. I focused on the things that I could control, you guys. My asking, my activity, and my helping other people see this vision and to promote. And I've done that over and over and over and over. It's like a broken record, right? Over and over and over and over and over and over again. We do the same thing over and over again. And by the end of that next year, you guys, we had promoted to region. I don't know how many of you guys are around that year. I actually ended up earning several awards that I didn't understand what they were till I got home. That's actually true. The one that most people remember is Parade of Champions, which is amazing. I actually think that's so special because Petter loved that award. It was like his favorite award. And I think it's a beautiful thing because it really celebrates, the top 20 consultants that help personally promote the most district managers. Not the most national vice presidents, not the most, whatever. The most people just getting to that first level of management so they can catch the vision, you guys. That was his favorite, just helping people to catch the vision, right? He was so excited about that. So I did end up earning that award. That year, I ended up promoting 12 direct district managers, 15 total, and 12 of them were direct. I haven't done that since, so I understand that was rather remarkable. But anyways, but the reality is that, it took a little time. It took a little time. It took a lot of minding my mind. It took a lot of being consistent, a lot of self-discipline. Are you willing to stay even if it takes more time than you think it's going to take, right? Are you willing? And so it's a funny thing. After you walk the Arbonne stage, you become Arbonne famous, and it's kind of weird because frankly, I still like to wear my sweatpants most of the time. And so it's just a little weird, and people start watching and everyone started asking, "When are you going nation? When are you going nation?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm trying. And it becomes this, I don't know, it was really a little bit difficult for me, you guys. The road between region and nation went a little longer than I ever anticipated. And you know what? It's okay. It's okay. Last year around this time, I got really sick of sitting where I was at. And I was like, all right, here's the deal. You can get to district by yourself. You can do that. You can even get to area by yourself if you work really hard. It's possible. But you cannot go nation by yourself. That's not possible. One person cannot do 160,000 QV and more to finish. You cannot. And so it does require a team. And so I sat back and I was like, you know what? The only things that I have control over right now is my own asks, my own activity, and my own personal growth. That's it. That's all. And so I started going to work on that. And I even started doing some really deep digging, you guys, personal growth wise. Not just self-talk and things like that, but even deeper. I went to some therapy, just saying. I did some Enneagram work, which was really difficult. I had dug my heels in for about 3 years to that. I was like, I'm not doing that. No one's putting a number on me. But you guys, that was life-changing, you guys. There was some things that I needed to see about myself. Really, I mean, be willing to fully see myself and deal with some of that stuff that wasn't so pretty. Just saying. But really being willing to dig down and do some of the hard work. And it's not easy, but it is worth it, you guys. And are you willing to do the deep work? I mean, I'm just asking you honestly, because it might take that. It probably will, actually. Most likely, if you want to go to the top, it will require you to do the deep work. But I will tell you that I have learned that building this business is about you and me and the stuff of life that we're willing to face and we're willing to walk through. We're willing to dig into, we're willing to explore, we're willing to cry about it, we're willing to get help, right? We're willing to keep on keeping on. And you guys, that is worth everything. That's worth everything. I mean, it's not just about a title. Who cares about a title, right? It's the inner work that's going to make you the most beautiful version of yourself. And in turn, you get to impact other people's lives with that, right? So I love this quote. It's in James and the Giant Peach. I don't know if you guys have ever read that book, long ago, but it says, well, maybe it all started that way as a dream, but doesn't everything? Those buildings, these lights, this whole city, somebody had to dream about it first. And maybe that's what I did. I dreamed about coming here and then I did it. And isn't that right, you guys? Like, it all starts as a dream. It all starts as a vision. It all starts as a hope in our heart that something could be different. And then it requires us to do the hard work, right? The hard work of activity and personal growth and minding our mind. All of those things have to come together to make the magic happen. And so I know a lot of people have asked me, what's the magic tip? What's your magic? What's your, what is the one thing that you'd say? And I really have to say, you guys, I don't believe that I'm one of the chosen few. I believe that I'm one of the few who chose, right? I chose to keep facing my fears. I chose to keep doing the do. I chose to keep doing the hard work. I chose to keep going deep and deeper, right? I chose to keep loving people no matter what they did or what they said or how they panned out, right? I kept loving them. I chose to keep speaking to the greatness that I saw inside of them, whether they believe it or not, right? I chose to never give up. I chose to keep on dreaming, you guys, and you can do that too. And so I really hope that my story can give you guys hope that it is worth it to keep going, even if it doesn't look like you thought it was going to look, because it probably won't look like that, quite honestly. Just here to burst that bubble right now and say, great things are coming, and it probably won't come the way you thought it was going to come. It's a little crazy. Isn't that how life is, though? I mean, really. Now I'm in my 40s, and I'm like, gosh, life is never what you expect it to be. And yet somehow, if you go into it with your heart open and you're willing to dig and do the deep work, it turns out into something beautiful, right? It really can. So anyway, Polly, I don't know if you guys have any questions or if there's anything else you want me to share.
I know you don't have a lot of time because you've got to be on your next call. So I don't know. I was actually just thinking of one thing that I wanted to share. I think, and I could be wrong, Bethany, but this is the thing. When I remember that moment of you on stage, there's the famous picture of you going, when you got paraded champions, and I think I didn't know you maybe, but I remember thinking I wanted to know you, and maybe I reached out. I can't remember, but and Andrea's encouraged me, almost pushed me towards sometimes physically going and talking to someone. I remember that time, Andrea, that you did that in Atlantis. I don't know if you remember that, but she was like, just go talk to him. It was Janine Finney and her mom, and they bring Flip Flop CEO, and I was like, there they are, and she's like, go talk to him, and I was like, no. But it encouraged me, like you were just saying, like, almost like it was a dream. And then, but that's the thing about this, like, if Amber's still on the line. Amber is our crier. Sorry, Amber. But I was almost crying just a minute ago because I was thinking, like, what if I hadn't reached out to you and some other people, or like you said, what if I hadn't never done this? I would be so, yeah. Sorry, Amber. I mean, literally, I was just like Gabby mentioned, goosebumps when you were talking. Like it was just incredible. I'm so grateful for Friendships in Arbonne. I mean, yeah, if we don't, we're all going to make a donation, but if we don't, I would be so grateful. And that's the thing, we have to come from that place of gratitude. So I know Bethany has to be on her call, and she's got 2 minutes. So,
I'm not actually doing the next call. So
okay, top 3 to 5 book recommend. Gabby said, what are your top 3 to 5 book recommendations? Or do you have any top book recs
my
that
favorite books? Oh my gosh, I've read so many books over the years. I have to go take a picture. But I always love, I really love John O'Leary's On Fire. I'm reading his newest book right now, which I also love. I love his book On Fire because I feel like it really challenges us to live fully. And it's, I mean, in a bigger life than just us. I love that book so much. Impactful books. I love all of Dr. Shad's books. I mean, those are really some of my favorite. The Power of Neuroplasticity is probably one of my favorites of his. Trying to, like, basic books. I mean, you guys probably all know, like Dare to Dream, Work to Win, GoPro, 4-Year Career. All those are really good. Personally, I really also have gotten a lot. This is not really network marketing related, but Brene Brown, her books are difficult. But they are worth it, and I've had a lot of personal growth and challenge just to be more vulnerable and authentic. I also love the Enneagram books that I've read recently. Those have been really, oh man, that has been difficult for me to face some of those things. But man, when you do, I think it really does open your heart to grow more. I'm trying to think. I'll have to go down and look at my stack.
I know definitely, Bethany, you mentioned your vision, and maybe sharing that. We would love that. I know for me personally, and so it said, can somebody spell the last work? Kim, do you mean the last book? Enneagram?
Oh, Enneagram.
It's E, isn't it? E-N-E-O?
E-N-N-E-A. Somebody wrote it out there. E-N-N-E-A-G-R-A-M. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, thanks, Gabby.
And somebody's asking my number. Oh,
what are you? I'm a 3.
I am a 3. I
knew you were.
But I will tell you, I had to really, I didn't like that first. I was really like, I hated it. I was like, I have been a chameleon my whole life. And I was like, I don't want to be that. Like, I want to be me. And it's only really been recently that I've been able to say, like, okay, this is me, and I don't have to chameleon to everything. I love everybody, but I can be me, and it's okay. And there's a lot of really good things for that threes. There's a lot of good things. I can now appreciate my threes. But at first I was really mortified and kind of ashamed, honestly.
Oh no, I think threes are awesome.
I sat on this panel. A friend of mine here, she is like an Enneagram teacher, and she was going through her study, and they have panels. And she had asked me 3 times if I would sit on the panel as a 3, and I was like, no way, dude. I'm not doing that. I was like, no, thanks. I mean, I made up excuses all over the place. I was like, I can't, I'm busy. She's like, 3s are really hard to get on the panel because first, they don't like to be vulnerable. So it's hard to get an authentic 3. And second, they are busy. Like, they're achievers, so they're busy. So finally, the 3rd time I told her no again. And I woke up that morning and I was like, shoot, I feel like I'm supposed to do this. I'm like, heck no, I'm not calling her. She called me. I was like, you have got to be kidding. I went and sat on that panel, and it was so powerful for me to sit there and really open my heart up a little bit. And she said, Bethany, I've studied the Enneagram for the last year. And she said, you're the most heart open 3 that we've had the whole time. And I was like, man, that hasn't always been the case, but it's worth it. It's worth it. Ugh. I'm like, I never took a test, by the way. All I
And
did was listen to like a million podcasts and read all the books.
I know that you can't go into this because, again, for time's sake, but one of the things that, she mentioned Chad Helmstetter and the neuroplasticity of the brain and all those things. I think that that's some things I'm working on right now. And I think it's one of the most important things for us to understand is how our brain creates pathways. And we're
Yes.
so used to our thought pattern running down those pathways and how to break those pathways. I don't know if there's any one quick thing you could share on that before we let you go. We're like,
Yeah.
I want all of Bethany. I know that's a big ask. Is there anything or something,
Yeah.
favorite chat, maybe just reading about the neuroplasticity of the brain? Because I think we all struggle so much with that self-talk.
It's hard, right? Those pathways are like super highways. You get in the shower, you do the same thing every time because you've done it so many times. You don't even think about it, right? So I think probably one of the biggest things you can do is obviously repetition, repetition, repetition. So that vision statement, I could quote it for you guys. I'll send it to you, by the way.
Thank you. Yes, that would be awesome.
But repetition is how you change your neural pathways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Over and over. So whether that's listening to the right kind of self-talk, writing your vision statement, Jerry talks about the winning image story. I mean, all of those things are kind of similar, but you have to do it over and over and over and over again. But I will say this, that Dr. Shad talks about those pathways, like it is really difficult because they become like super highways. You just go down, like you could drive to work and not even think about it if you worked at the same place for years, because you just go that way all the time. And it's the same way in your brain. And so it does take quite a bit of work to break that down. But it was about 3 months. Like one of the things on my vision statement, it says, I believe that God is bringing exactly the right people at exactly the right time into my life and into my business. I said that so many times, you guys, that I now have no qualms whatsoever if somebody comes into my business or somebody else's business or where. I'm just like, I believe it is now cemented superhighway in my brain that the right people at the right time are coming into my business and into my life. And I don't have to worry about it anymore. So it's just like, I don't know, you have to, it is repetition. I mean, Dr. Shad, that's part of our training is repetition, repetition, repetition. Mm-hmm. My favorite book probably that he has is The Power of Neuroplasticity. And then I do have access if you want. I'll send this to you, Polly. I have like a 30-day free trial link that you can go on, get Dr. Shad's self-talk, but you also have access to his audiobook, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself on there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you have it's like a 30-day free trial if you want to continue. I think it's maybe $20 a month. I can't remember, or you can cancel it, but that book is on there too, and that book is worth listening to.
Yeah. For sure. That would be great. And we appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this and pour into us. Oh my gosh, Bethany. It was such a treat, right, everybody?
Oh, I love you guys. I'm so glad. Hey, and let me tell you, don't give up, because we went into Nation Qual 2 times over the last year. And then we were like 7,000 from Qual again in February. I mean, we were like, yeah.
That's like Andrea. She's in Qual right now, but it kind of was back and forth and close and whatever. And
I had never done that though. Like every time I went into Qual for anything else, I went into Qual and I finished. And then I was like, what the heck, Nation? But I will say, when we went into Qual in March, our sponsoring had been really high for a couple months in a row. And I was like, okay, we can do this now. But it was a huge stretch because I have a very strong leg.
Yes.
I pull so much from that leg.
Yeah, me too.
And so we had to do more than we had ever done. And I don't know, my team was amazing though. They were like, we didn't just finish. Last month, I'll tell you, we didn't even just finish. We surpassed almost by double what we needed.
What? Oh my goodness.
Which was crazy. We had never,
wow.
I mean,
that's
never.
So great.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And this month it's not like we're having a great month again. I'm like, oh my gosh, I think that like builds everybody's belief that they can,
right.
You know?
Yeah.
So
yeah. Oh.
Push.
Well, thank you again. We're so grateful. I know you got to go, but we love you and thank you so much for taking this time. Everybody say bye to Bethany.
Thanks,
Love
Bethany.
you. Love you guys.
Thank you. And thanks
Thank
you guys.
you.
Thanks everybody for hopping on this call. I hope you enjoyed it. And I will
Amazing.
stop the recording.